Welcome back to the podcast. We are here with Dennis Kelly from Postalytics.com. That is Postalytics.com. Postalytics is all about standing out with direct mail automation. You can create personalized letters and cards with their direct mail editor, efficiency with their full service printing and mailing services, tracking, tracing, measuring the impact, combining with email, with direct mail, integrating with your CRMs. Amazing. So many possibilities. Dennis, glad to be talking to you.
Thanks so much, Robert. Psyched to be here today.
And I'm psyched to have you. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about Postalytics and features and benefits or possibilities, or about other projects you have going on? What's today's focus?
So yeah, we're definitely focused on Postalytics. It's my full-time and a half occupation to try to grow this thing. And we're in a great place. Direct mail marketing, as just about everybody knows, been around forever, and it is kind of considered old school and kind of peaked in terms of usage of direct mail as a marketing channel in the late 2000s. And digital marketing has blown up, email marketing has blown up. But what's happened is that those channels, like a lot of marketing channels, when things are working, everybody jumps in, right? So compare your email inbox today to where it was 10 years ago, and you'll find, like most people, it's barely manageable. You can barely get through your emails every day. It's a huge project, while your direct mailbox has seen a decline in the number of mail pieces. And so marketers are saying, hey, I can't stand out in email. Digital marketing channels are crowded and getting more expensive. Maybe I could take a look at direct mail again if it was simple and integrated and I could figure out how it works. And so that's what we're trying to help.
Well, fantastic. And I love this thought process here that, well, if everything's so crowded, then some of these other kind of older school marketing techniques are maybe more under the radar. And old school is fine. If it works for me, if it makes more than it costs, then I'm in all day long, especially if it's kind of more of a better kept secret. And especially if my other competitors are discarding it or don't even want to bother with it, or if they're thinking about all the downsides, like, oh, it's 70 cents per person or $1 per person times all these thousands I'll have to buy, versus kind of the kind of combining the old and the new school way of thinking of have the CRM and have it based on your contact. And if your contact is opening some emails or opening some postcards or checking out some of your ads, then let me get dialed in on those contacts that I want to talk to. And so, throwing all these things out there, what is stopping people from tapping into this whole postcard thing? Because I feel like when I kind of revisit it every like 5 or 10 years, and I do a little burst, and then I forget that I even did it. And then 5 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have like kind of been more consistent with it. So how do we get permanently on the postcard train?
Absolutely. And I think one of the big changes that has happened, as you had pointed out, businesses have invested significantly in their CRM and their marketing automation tools. And one of the challenges that direct mail has had traditionally is that it's a channel that has lived outside of that, right? And so in order to get out a direct mail campaign, you're getting lists from various sources, and none of it is touching any of your other automated campaigns that you have set up. Well, what's different now with Postalytics, you can actually plug into your automation that you're already doing around your email, around your digital. And so what you can do is set up campaigns that are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, based on logic that you construct in your marketing automation or your CRM. So you don't have to remember, to get this campaign out, right? And call the printer, right? And go get the creative, because you construct the automation to say, hey, when somebody hasn't opened the last 5 emails in a row from me, send them a series of postcards, try to get them re-engaged. If somebody has opted out of email, right? Well, that doesn't mean they've opted out of all communications. That just means they've opted out of email. So if they're not accepting your email, send them direct mail instead and do it on an automated basis. So you don't have to remember to go through that manual process that you used to have to do to get those campaigns out.
And I love thinking of scenarios like this, right? Of kind of the triggers and things like, well, if someone unsubscribes from email, or if they haven't opened or clicked in a while, then send those postcards to wake them back up. Because you always hear just this defeatist mindset, right? Of like, oh, emails will get filtered, or my list isn't what it once was. Well, then that means that what you're currently doing isn't working, and maybe you need to use postcards to wake people back up. And whenever we get into the weeds here about CRMs and tracking and how they hook into postcards, my mind goes in all these even like the positives, right? Of like, for example, if someone clicks on a particular link in an email, then send them a postcard for that. Or if they go and click into the shopping cart but they don't buy, then send them a thing like that. And like little techniques like that, I mean, I feel like it's very rarely happened to me. It's been like maybe like once every few years I get a postcard of something that's related. And I mean, it stands out so much. So like, what does Postalytics do along these lines that kind of stands out? Because you sometimes hear about how like these postcards, you hear about automation and how it's hooked into the CRM, but where does Postalytics stand out with all these advanced things we're talking about?
Yeah. So what we try to do, there are three things that Postalytics is focused on. Number one is to simplify the process of generating direct mail. And so what we've done, we've built a national network of print partners all around the country. We've done bulk negotiation for rates and pricing that individual businesses could never get on their own. And so what we enable is a small business or a medium-sized business to tap into all of this infrastructure that will enable you to get direct mail campaigns out quickly and easily without having to go figure out what printer you're going to use, figure out all the details around postal service regulations, where in the postcard, I can't get in the address area or it'll get booted out, right? Like all this stuff is dealt with. And so you focus on building great creative, great marketing, right? Communicate to your clients. Don't worry about the production stuff. You don't have to be a project manager in order to get a campaign out. You just go click, 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 done, right? It's all set. So speed and efficiency is number one. Integration is number two. You ought to be able to use the lists and the segments that you've created in your CRM, right? You know who your customers are. You should be thanking your customers. Every time they buy from you, thank them, right? You're probably already doing it in an email, but they're not looking at it, right? So send a letter, send a formal letter from the CEO. Thank you for your purchase. It means a lot to us. You're putting people to work. You're helping grow our business, right? So that integration capability is the other second key aspect. And then the third is around analytics. And so what we want to do is inform you where your mail is in the production cycle, in the delivery cycle. We've tapped into the Postal Service's tracking system behind the scenes. So now every single piece of mail that you send through Postalytics is being tracked all the way through the delivery process. And we've given you free tools to include personalized QR codes, personalized URLs on each of your mailers. So if somebody hits that QR code to respond, well, you're going to know, hey, this was Robert from this postcard, from this campaign. Here's what he did. Did he buy? Did he not buy? Like all of that information is now accessible at a granular level through Postalytics. And so it's those three things: speed, integration, analytics. That's how we stand out.
Speed, integration, analytics. I love it. And with this whole postcard thing, you always hear about like tracking or having a code, like a code they type in or a QR code, and that's exciting because you figure. I mean, I imagine that the percentage of people that like use that might be kind of on the low side because they have to get the postcard. It has to like get delivered to the right place and not bounce. You have to read it. But it's like if someone redeems that code, to me, that's a red hot lead. To me, that's like, okay, I'll always send a postcard to that person because it's made that whole whole route, that whole path over to them. And so, I mean, do you have any data or any like anecdotes to share about this whole tracking thing? Because I feel like I could be completely wrong about that. I feel like the percentage of the redemption, so to speak, is low as far as like them, using the code. But if you track that, that's like their lead score goes way up in my mind. So, I mean, what have you seen as far as this whole like tracking and then what to do with that tracking data?
Sure, sure. So I guess there's a couple of things there. Number one, for several reasons, the use of QR codes has gone through the roof. And so now all of us are trained that, use a QR code. It's a simple, fast, easy way to deal with something. And so what we're seeing is that with our customers, more and more and more are adding QR codes into the creative and use that as the way to help people respond. And so the reasons why, Google and Apple started loading QR code readers into the cameras of every phone a few years ago, and then the pandemic happened. And since the pandemic, everybody's using QR codes for everything because you don't want to touch anything. So everybody's been trained. So what's happened, we're seeing 50% growth year over year in the number of clients that are using QR codes in their direct mail creative. And we're seeing a higher and higher percentage of those campaigns getting high response rates because everybody's been trained on how to use these things.
And do you have any guidance on maybe what the QR code should go to? Because you think, okay, like if it goes to a video, I guess that's cool. If you think of like a discount or a special offer, maybe that's okay, but that seems to be like what everyone else does. If you scan it and there's like some sort of free gift, like that seems interesting. But what have you seen as far as what works and what stands out and what to link to in the QR code?
Yeah, so it really depends on your business. A lot of businesses that we see, especially in the retail and e-commerce space, they're selling something, right? So, hey, hit this QR code, you get 15% off, and it drops you right into the purchase process of an e-commerce shopping cart. Others will drive to say set an appointment with a financial advisor, or get access to a video that explains a more complex type of offering, and so the usage is very, very wide. Anything on the web, you can have a QR code drive as a call to action, and so we track customers in 18 different vertical industries, from real estate to tech to automotive to healthcare, and they're all using we call the call to action a little bit differently, but it's almost always drive them online, or call this number. But there's a lot less calling going on and a lot more, hey, go to my website and do this, and because that's how marketers are scaling their operations.
And you're reminding me of how it's all kind of connected, right? And that it's I used to fall into this trap of thinking like, well, if I contact my leads through like this one channel and it doesn't work right away, it must be a failure. But there's these things like the lag time, and there's things like hitting them on different avenues to kind of drop them in the funnel in these different ways. And I like, for example, the appointment kind of funnel there, because you think like, you could have them scan the QR code and drop them on a page where they schedule an appointment. And if they're not quite ready, then follow up and like guide them to make sure that they get back to that. And it kind of makes you think about, ways where you could easily go right or easily go wrong. So are there any things to watch out for if someone tries or thinks about doing postcard marketing and they might get like frustrated or not really get to the finish line? Like, what should we be concerned or worried about as far as the success of our postcard campaigns?
Well, I think, Robert, you bring up one of my favorite things to talk about, which is like any marketing channel with direct mail, you should be testing constantly. And so when you're starting out, instead of sending to, one campaign to 2,000 people, send 2 campaigns to 1,000 people and test the offer first, right? Is for this particular audience, does this offer work better or does this offer work better? Right? And then you pick a winner. And then once you've got a winner in your next campaign, maybe you test, well, does a big QR code on the right-hand side work better? Or does 2 small QR codes front and back work better to drive acceptance to that call to action? So you can drill down in every element of your creative and use direct mail and use these response tools that tell you precise information to let you know what's working best for your particular audience. And so, a lot of times when people are trying direct mail for the first time, they say, oh, I'm going to try a campaign, and if it works, great, I'm going to stick with it. If it doesn't work, then I'll go do something else. And that's fine, but if that campaign consists of one touch, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And what I like to tell people is, hey, if you hired a salesperson and they made 100 phone calls and left 100 voicemails and never picked up the phone again, what would you do?
You fire them.
Think you'd fire them, right? That's the same thing you're doing by sending one direct mail touch out one time. You're just rolling the dice. Maybe you get some responses, but like any other type of marketing, you need to be there consistently, hitting the same message over and over again with some tweaks, with some different concepts, testing, trying to figure out what works. You have to have a long-term strategy to be successful using this, just like anything else.
Well, yeah, you think of the word campaign. I don't have a dictionary in front of me, but you think like if someone's doing like a presidential campaign or running for mayor or city council, is someone just gonna show up one day and say, hey, I'm running for mayor, see you later? No, a campaign means they show up like again and again, day after day. So when we're talking about some kind of a marketing campaign, like multiple touch points makes a lot of sense. And then just this going back to the old school stuff, split testing, it's like one of the best ideas ever invented, because you can test 2 drastic things with your postcards or one small tweak. And you and I both know sometimes you test something weird and silly on a web page or somewhere else, where like you take out a headline or you take out a video, you change red to blue, and sometimes it shoots your conversion rates through the roof. And you're like, why did it do that? I don't know, but I know enough that this is my winner, and then I'll do another experiment based on that. And that way you can be sure about, well, like you said, QR code or not, QR code front and back or not. Now you're not just guessing, you're just saying, let me try this with or without it, or A or B. And then when you send out these hundreds or thousands of postcards and there's 2 different versions of it, you can say, okay, now I can be sure because I've sent so many. Now I know what works. I don't always know why it works, but I know that this test, this experiment works better for me. And so as we're winding down our call here, Dennis, we've been talking about the possibilities with postcards. We've been talking about some of the cool features people can use with Postalytics. And so how does someone take action on this? And because you're all about the testing and the conversion, how do you and I make sure that this does not become just another good idea in someone's mind? How do you make sure that someone actually takes action on this, goes to the website, is excited and follows through? Where do they go? What do they do?
So if you go to our website, Postalytics.com, we offer what we call a free account. And so you can use our software for free, set up your creative, you can try the software out, and then you can just you can just put in your credit card when you want to send some mail, right? So you can really get a feel for the software before you spend a penny. And so that's what we see more and more people doing. They're jumping in, they're trying the software, and then, hey, maybe sometimes they have some questions. We have a team that's ready to help, right? But the vast majority of folks are just jumping in the software, and then, as what we're saying is, hey, direct mail works. Digital channels are getting crowded, emails getting crowded, direct mail works. So you should do it, but you should do it in a modern, smart way. Don't do it the old-fashioned way. Do it in a modern, smart way, so that you spend your time thinking about, how to do the testing, how to do better marketing, as opposed to spending your time being a project manager, emailing spreadsheets around and calling up printers and dealing with the postal service and all this kind of stuff.
I love it. Don't bother with the mechanics. Free up that mind space and that time to work on strategy and work on big picture. And the way you can do that out there in podcast land is go to postalytics.com. That's POSTALYTICS.com. That's Postalytics. And you've gotten this far on the podcast and you've been listening and gotten some ideas about postcard marketing. So you know that this is a thing that you should be doing in your business. But instead of doing more research or doing more learning, just jump in, go to postalytics.com. If you have 2 minutes free, which I think you do, you can click around and use your editor and send a postcard to yourself and then get that feeling for yourself of what it's like to go to the mailbox or get the mail and say like, oh yeah, there's this cool little like glossy picture and there's like some kind of a QR code and some marketing on it. And imagine how your customers would feel, especially with them being crowded on social media, crowded on email marketing, crowded everywhere else. Now you're reaching out to them and maybe waking them up and waking up old customers and new customers and fresh customers, and you're doing it because you took this postcard marketing thing seriously while everyone else is maybe giving up on it, or they're kind of trying to pursue all these other like crowded avenues and making it too hard on themselves. You can give this postcard thing a try, hook it up with your automation, hook it up with split testing. It's at postalytics.com. Do you think we left out anything, Dennis, as far as the cool things that they'll get with Postalytics or reasons to go and check it out right now? Anything else to squeeze in at the end?
Well, yeah, we are going to have a special promotion for the end of the year. And so what we're offering folks that try out the software, find out that they like it, we offer subscriptions so that you can get in a monthly subscription and then lower the cost of sending mail once you buy into a monthly subscription. So we're offering a buy one, get one offer between now and the end of the year. And so jump into the software, try it out. If you decide, hey, I want to upgrade, I want to get a subscription, contact us, let us know. And we will apply the buy one, get one offer. So you can buy 1 month of a subscription, you get the second month free. And so it's a great offer, great way to get started. So check it out online and reach out to us if you're interested.
Amazing. So you get your billing dialed in as another form of tracking, right? You're tracking your conversions, but you're also saying, well, I'm putting this money into the postcard marketing and getting this other amount of money back out. Let me widen the margins there. Cool idea. And that is at postalytics.com. We will see you there. We'll spell it out one more time. POSTALYTICS.com. Postalytics.com. Go there now while it's fresh on your mind. Don't even wait for the podcast to be over. Just postalytics.com. And whether you're on your phone or your computer, click the button, sign up for that free account, send yourself the postcard. And then once you use it and you love it, then contact Dennis and his team and get on that monthly subscription. Postalytics.com. Glad to talk to you today, Dennis, about postcard marketing.
Robert, this is great. I really enjoyed it. I hope that your audience enjoyed it as well. It's a great opportunity to jump in and get some great software.